What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to do a pricing workshop for all the social media managers out there or anyone who runs a service-based business and is looking to calculate, hourly rates, package prices, all of that. I did one of these videos years ago and it was so, let's just say, janky. I was using like a very mini whiteboard and it was very hard to see the math and everything that I was doing. So I actually have a new sidekick today that I'm very excited to share with you. I think this is going to make these workshops a lot easier, and I'm happy to do more of them if you would like. So just let me know in the comments if there's anything you'd like me to kind of workshop out. But this device is called the Vibeboard S1. It is so cool. It is this giant device that enables me to use all of these different apps. Everything from Canvas, which we're going to be using in a second to kind of write things out, to one of my favorites, which is Miro. Miro, will also be using that for kind of brainstorming, mind mapping, things of that nature. We've also got Canva, which is a great graphic design tool, Asana, so many different apps on here that you can use for productivity. But then there's also some that are just for fun, like YouTube and Netflix and Spotify. I can easily have these things playing on this really nice big screen while I'm working, or share my screen with people who I'm on Zoom with. It's really, really cool. So as you can see, it has an interactive touch screen here. We're going to open up Canvas with our interactive touch screen, and we also have this great stylus as well. So this is where I can kind of start writing like, hi, everyone. This is such a cool feature. If I press and hold, it actually translates my sloppy text into readable text, which is so nice because I am a terrible handwriter. So I'll definitely be using that during our session today so you can kind of translate what I'm actually scribbling down. There's also video conferencing capabilities with Zoom or Google Meet, which is really cool, and it has this great camera on top of it here. So I can join meetings from the Vibe board. Join audio. Start my video. And I can kind of share what I'm working on camera with my Zoom meeting. I can also share my screen here, which is pretty cool. And I can also, let's see, drag here, split screen. So I can have a meeting going on while, let's say, on my Canvas, while, let's say, sharing my Canvas with my meeting attendees. So I could be in the Freelance Friday Club. Who knows what that says? Let's long press and see. Hello, yes. I can be on the Freelance Friday Club call, sharing something to the group. They can see this. I can see them. Like, very, very cool stuff going on here. So anyway, definitely we'll probably be doing some of that stuff in the Freelance Friday Club, but today it's all about you. So let's hop into freelance pricing 101. We can also connect our Bluetooth devices with this. So I do have my keyboard. This is just a Logitech keyboard, a wireless keyboard that is connected to here. So if I do need to type anything throughout our session, you might see me doing that. I'm also going to be using my handheld calculator, just a little easier for everyone to see here. All right, so first things first, if we are looking to make $10,000 a month, that equals out to $120,000 per year, right? So this is the first thing with pricing, is you need to know how much you're going to need per year, that big annual lump sum. And I want you to keep in mind that as an entrepreneur, my recommendation is always to make this number a little bit higher than you think it's going to be, anywhere from 20 to 30% higher than what you would actually like to take home as a salary. So if you want to take home, let's just say 80K, maybe that's what your salary was at your job. Well, then, yeah, you should be adding on 24 grand, which would equal out to about $104,000. The reason for this is because as an entrepreneur, you have so many expenses that you don't have as a, worker, as a 9-to-5 employee. You have to pay for equipment. You have to pay for office space. You have to pay for business travel. You also have to pay taxes. So always keep that in mind. I think $120,000 a year as a social media manager freelance is realistic and is probably a good place to start with. So start with that first goal. So this is obviously 10K per month, because $120,000 divided by 12 months is $10,000 per month. Okay, so the next thing that you want to do is you want to calculate what that hourly rate is going to be, and we're just going to keep that in our back pocket. We can do this like on the calculator just by doing a little bit of math, but I actually have a little cheat code for you. I'll link it in the description. It's a website that I always recommend to people. It's called Lancer List. They have this little hourly rate calculator. You can kind of plug in the number of days off you want, how much you want to make per year, all of that stuff, and it'll give you kind of a recommended hourly rate, a recommended day rate. Here's the thing though, I want you to be realistic with the number that it's going to give you. I have, several years experience, like close to a decade of experience as a social media manager. I've worked in corporate companies, I've worked in startups, I've worked for myself. So I have a varied experience. So I can look at that, what that number gives me, and start there, or use that as, go on the higher end sometimes. If you're very, very new in your business, be realistic. And, you might not be getting like 100 days off per year and earning $150 an hour just starting out. And I don't say that to be negative. I just, it's going to be a little bit of a harder sell if you don't have a lot of experience to show for and all of that. So anyway, I pulled up that website and this was giving me $82 per hour is what it was kind of recommending to me. So these are all of our kind of baseline numbers. We need to be making 120K a year, 10K per month, $82 an hour. I'd like to have all those numbers in my head just because when I'm accepting a project, when I'm saying yes to doing something, when I'm saying yes to a consulting call, a one-off, hourly type of thing, always keeping that in mind. I should never be charging less than $82 an hour. I should never be making less than 10K a month. And, obviously that will get me to my ultimate goal. In theory, right? Okay, now the next thing to think about here is how many clients can you realistically take on per month? This is important, especially when you're working on retainer projects, when you're going to be renewing a monthly contract as a social media manager. There's only so much capacity we as solo freelancers can take on. Now, if you want to do an agency model, you can scale this number way up, and you'll see that that's kind of how you start to really get into the million numbers and things like that. Or if you start to do digital products, all of that kind of stuff. But when we're thinking solo freelancer, that's what this pricing workshop's all about. How many clients can you realistically take on at once? I personally, it's $1 million question. I personally kind of capped at around 5 clients. So if we're gonna, let's just say, start with that 5 clients, we'd take this 10K a month number and divide that by 5. So $10,000 divided by 5 is $2,000 per month. So this would be the minimum package rate that we should be charging if we are looking to take on 5 clients and earn 10K a month. Now, we can flex these numbers up or down. So we can say, well, 4 clients, and then we can do that math. So 10K divided by 4 would be 2,500 per month packages. So if we're taking on less clients, that means that we are able to charge more money, or we need to charge more money. Each client needs to be worth a little bit more. 3 clients would be 10K divided by 3 is 3,333.33. So I would probably round this up to 3,400 realistically. And then if we did 2 clients, that would be what? 5K equals $5,000 per month. Wow. Okay. I'm getting a little sloppy with my writing here, but $5,000 per month per client. And if all of those clients stay on for all 12 months, in theory, we would be making up this $120 per year. Okay. So it's that easy, right? But no, that's only kind of part of the battle. The next thing that we need to think about is we need to go back to this hourly rate number here. And the reason that I don't like to charge hourly, right? I don't recommend it. A lot of other business coaches and things like that do not recommend it either. I am on board with that. But I think it's important to have this hourly rate number so that you can basically cross-check your packages. So you can say, all right, you know, what does a $2,000 a month package look like in terms of my work, in terms of my output? Is my client getting the value? Am I getting the value? You know, so the hourly rate can kind of help quantify those things for you, because if you do this math and you figure out, wow, I'm making $10 an hour, which I've been there, I've been like, wow, I am basically getting minimum wage for all of this work, even though it may seem like a large package number. Well, then you know you got to go back to the drawing board. So let's break these down by hour really quickly, which I actually already did this math, so I don't have to bore you too much with it. I'll bust out my phone. So the $2,000 package would be 2,000. So we're going to take that package rate divided by that $82 per hour rate. That would equal 24 hours per month, which would equal about 6 hours per week. So you can keep this as kind of your double check. You know, I always recommend freelancers track their time when they're working with clients. Again, it's not to say that time is everything when it comes to pricing, but if you are consistently finding yourself putting in 40 hours per month or 20 hours per week to this client, and this is your hourly rate, then you are probably going to have the signal, hey, I need to raise my rates for the next client, or maybe even for this client, or I need to, you know, do something to make myself more efficient, because I'm not going to be on track to meet that top goal, that 120K a year goal, if I keep working at this capacity, unless you're putting in overtime, and that can be a road to burnout. And you know, you all know, okay, the 4 clients one, so 2,500 divided by 82, 30 hours per month, which is about 7.5 hours per week. 3, three, 3. Okay, that's a weird 3. We're just going to move on. Divided by 82, 40 hours per month, or 10 hours per week. And then lastly, we've got the 2 clients at 5K. So we're going to do 5K divided by 82, 60 hours per month. I don't know why I keep skipping the O in month. And about 15 hours per week. And then let's just do the 10K. So if we just worked with one super full service client at $10,000 a month, we divide that by our hourly rate of $82 an hour. That would be around 121 hours per month and around 30 hours per week, which is almost a full-time job. And that's one of the reasons that I generally avoid working with just one client at a time, and generally recommend freelancers diversify. There's also some legal stuff in there, you know, when do you just become a misclassified employee? Full-time hours in the United States is like 37.5, if I'm not mistaken. So you could easily see yourself creeping up on just becoming a misclassified employee if you're only working with one client, you know, at 10K for your whole year. So recommend diversifying, but good to keep all of this stuff in mind for sure. So I'm going to, what do I want to do? Cool thing is Canvas, it saves this app. It'll save all of this work for me, but I can also like export this if I want to. Like I'm just going to send this to my email really quick, and I'm going to pull up my keyboard here, and I'll just send it to my company email, just so I have it, just in case something happens and I lose it and I want to reference back to it. So that'll show up as a PDF, which is pretty cool. So what I want to do now is, actually, maybe we're going to split screen this. So we've got our split screen. We're going to long press and drag it to this side. And then the next thing I want to do is open up Miro. And we're going to just create a new board. The reason I want this as a split screen is because I want to reference our work that we just did together. And I might just have to pop over here. I know it's going to like mess up the vibe a little bit of the video, but we're going to actually start building out these packages. I wonder if I can make this take up a little more. There we go. That's a little better. By the way, Vibeboard is giving you $100 off if you want to order one of these. I will leave the link for that down in the description. It is seriously so cool, whether you're a course creator, a teacher, just an entrepreneur. Like, I've been doing so much mind mapping and figuring out my whole brand, which let me know if you'd like to see like that whole work session that I did. It's a really, really cool device. So you should definitely check it out. Buy it for the entrepreneur, freelancer in your life for the holidays if you want. But I'll leave that code in the description box. Okay, so now this is Miro. So this is kind of like a mind mapping tool. I've been using it to create courses and like plan out my modules and just a bunch of stuff. So I am going to, let's just build out a couple of different packages. Let's just do kind of like a small tier, medium tier, high tier. Let's just start there. Start with this pink one. I'm gonna grab my keyboard again. Ah! So this is, let's just call this the light yellow, which is our mid. And our green is going to be our top tier. I would probably call them something different realistically. This one's going to be 2,000. This one's going to be, we'll do the 2,500. And this one is going to be, let's do the 5,000. Okay, I'm sorry my handwriting got weird there. I'm going to go back to where I was because I feel like I could write better. 5,000. There we go. A little bit better here. So from here, what I recommend doing is just popping in the different deliverables or the services that you're going to provide for each of these things. And really, the secret to this is making sure that you are cross-checking with that hourly rate to make sure that you are not going to be over-promising. So like, I'm just going to do this kind of off the top of my head based on my own kind of skills and all of that. So we'll start here. I'm going to raise the text a little. We're going to do a bullet point list. And I'm just going to start typing. And I'll say, this is magnetic, by the way. Pretty cool. Let's just say this is an Instagram package for sake of being simple here. 1 reel per week, static, or like carousels. Let's see, we'll do 1 monthly call. I'll do 3 hours. We'll just like call that good for right now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator and I'm going to start to put numbers onto this, right? So for me, I would say one reel per week if I'm actually ideating that, if I am editing that, if I'm posting that, if I'm writing the captions, let's say like minimum 2 hours. I'm going to just start there. So again, we're going to take this hourly rate, $82 per hour times 2. So this is putting us at around 160 already. The 3 static, let's just say that they're carousels. They require research, they require design, they require copywriting, would be $492. The 1 monthly call is going to be $82, but actually we should do that by 2 because it's going to take prep time and probably more like times 3 because it's going to take prep time and action after the call, you know, sending out notes, that kind of thing. So we'll do that. And then 3 hours per engagement would be same number, 246. So we're going to add all this stuff together. 246 times 2 equals plus 492 equals plus 160 equals. So right now we're at 1144. I think I cut a number off of that. Anyway, we're around $1,100, $1,200 for this light package if this was all that we're doing and if we're only going off of hourly. So in theory, you're pricing all right because you're definitely not underpricing yourself. But we could think about maybe how can we add on additional value if we do want to kind of go up a little bit. And, this is really how you work out packages. And you can just, you can get kind of fun. You can have a little bit of fun with it by making different projections and saying, okay, how many of these top packages would I need to sell or would I want to sell per year? How many of these mid, light, etc. would I need to sell to be able to make my my annual goal. And you can just set those as your target, make sure that you're tracking your KPIs, keeping up with performance as you are going throughout the year. But this is really all that goes into pricing. For me, it's just a little workshop session. And at the end of the day, my advice is always this. I've said this before, I'll say it again. My advice is always that pricing is personal. And if you look at these numbers and you think, I'm not going to feel good getting out of bed and charging this rate, I'm going to feel like I'm maybe being taken advantage of a little bit if I charge this rate, then charge higher. This is not a definitive answer. Just because you did some math doesn't mean that that is what you have to charge. You have to feel good about what you're charging. You have to feel confident about offering that. So always go with your gut at the end of the day. But this should at least give you a little bit of help here and a starting point. So anyway, we're done with these things. Miro, super cool because you can save your board to your email address. So I can go onto my computer now, claim it, and I can see it on my computer, which is really fun as well. And we'll be able to access this Miro board on my computer, and you can make edits to it and everything still too, which is very, very fun. So yeah, this is pricing part 1. Let me know what else you'd like me to work out on this board. And this is the Vibe board S1. Be sure to check it out. It is seriously such a game changer. I am having so much fun with it. I'm going to bring so much good content to the Freelance Friday Club and also hopefully to this YouTube channel as well. And thank you to them for sending me this. You can check out the Vibe board S1. I'll have a $100 off coupon code in the description if you'd like to try it out for yourself. That's all I've got for today. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.